Sitcoms are designed to make laughter feel effortless, as if joy simply exists once the cameras begin rolling. But behind that illusion often stand actors carrying private thoughts, disappointments, and quiet resilience. Three's Company was one of the most beloved sitcoms of the 1970s, remembered for its misunderstandings, physical comedy, and bright energy. Yet the reality behind the scenes was far more complex. At the center of that contrast stood Joyce DeWitt, the actress who portrayed the intelligent and grounded Janet Wood. While audiences saw her as the voice of reason amid chaos, few realized how much she kept to herself during the show's rise and eventual conclusion. Joyce was never one to seek attention away from her work, and that discretion extended to deeply personal feelings she chose not to share publicly for decades. Her story is not one of scandal or conflict, but of quiet endurance, professionalism, and a devotion to both her craft and her character that went far deeper than laughter alone. From small-town roots to a love for the stage, Joyce DeWitt was born on April 23, 1949, in Wheeling, West Virginia, and grew up in Speedway, Indiana, a modest town best known for the Indianapolis 500. Raised in a household that valued creativity and discipline, she discovered her passion for performance early in life, participating in school plays and community productions by her early teens. Acting quickly became more than a hobby. It became a calling. After graduating from Speedway Senior High School, Joyce enrolled at Ball State University, where she pursued theater with focus and determination, earning a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1971. Her hunger for deeper understanding of the craft led her to UCLA, where she completed a Master of Fine Arts in 1974. There, she immersed herself in classical and contemporary theatre, building a strong technical foundation, becoming Janet Wood and finding her voice. In 1976, Joyce auditioned for a new ABC sitcom inspired by a British series, never imagining it would become a defining chapter of her life. When Three's Company premiered in 1977, Joyce stepped into the role of Janet Wood, a practical and intelligent woman navigating absurd situations with patience and wit. Alongside John Ritter and Suzanne, she helped establish a dynamic that resonated instantly with audiences. Joyce brought warmth, realism, and emotional balance to Janet, grounding the show's farcical humor in something relatable. While physical comedy often took center stage, Janet's expressions, timing, and subtle reactions became essential to the show's rhythm. Joyce approached the role with care, believing comedy worked best when characters felt real rather than exaggerated. Her performance made Janet more than a stereotype. She became a representation of independence and common sense. Fame without flash and a life kept private. As Three's Company soared to the top of television ratings, Joyce DeWitt found herself part of a cultural phenomenon. Yet she never embraced the celebrity lifestyle that often accompanied such success. Unlike many stars of the era, she avoided Hollywood parties, tabloid interviews, and manufactured publicity. Joyce viewed acting as a profession rather than a platform for fame, choosing instead to protect her personal life from public scrutiny. She focused on showing up prepared, respecting her co-stars, and honoring the audience through consistency and effort. This quiet approach earned her respect within the industry, even if it sometimes left her misunderstood by those who expected a more visible public persona. Joyce believed that privacy was not secrecy, but balance. Her restraint allowed her to stay grounded during years when the pressures of success could easily overwhelm. Turbulence on set and the strength of silence. In 1980, Three's Company faced a major shift that tested the cast's unity and resilience. Suzanne Summers's departure from the series brought media attention, speculation, and emotional strain, altering the show's dynamic almost overnight. While headlines focused on conflict and controversy, Joyce chose a different path. She did not comment publicly, assign blame, or engage in debate. Instead, she continued filming, maintaining professionalism and supporting the production through a difficult transition. Behind the scenes, the change was painful, particularly because close working relationships had been disrupted. Joyce felt the loss deeply, yet she believed silence was the most responsible choice, preserving the integrity of the show and respecting everyone involved. Her decision was not avoidance but intention, the secret wish she never spoke aloud. While Joyce DeWitt remained outwardly composed, she carried a deeply personal feeling that few ever knew about during the show's original run. Her unspoken secret was not about fame or conflict, but about Janet Wood's future. Joyce believed Janet represented independence, intelligence, and possibility, and she hoped the character would grow beyond traditional expectations. When the series finale concluded with Janet choosing marriage and a settled life, Joyce quietly felt disappointed. To her, Janet deserved an ending that reflected ambition and self-determination, perhaps through education, service, or personal growth. Joyce never argued publicly or challenged the writers in the press. She respected the collaborative nature of television, even when the outcome conflicted with her vision. Carrying success while bearing pressure. The success of Three's Company brought extraordinary visibility, but it also carried pressures that Joyce DeWitt chose to navigate quietly. Week after week, millions of viewers welcomed Janet Wood into their homes, expecting consistency, warmth, and laughter. Joyce felt a responsibility to meet that expectation, even when personal challenges arose. She rarely spoke about stress, exhaustion, or emotional weight, believing that professionalism meant reliability. Unlike many performers who used fame as a springboard for constant publicity, Joyce intentionally stepped back once the series ended, seeking balance rather than reinvention. When she faced a difficult personal moment years later, she handled it privately and focused on growth rather than explanation. Joyce's resilience was never loud or dramatic. It was steady and internal. Bonds that endured beyond the cameras. Despite changes and challenges, Joyce DeWitt maintained deep affection for the people who shared the Three's Company journey with her. Her bond with John Ritter was especially meaningful, built on trust, generosity, and mutual respect. When Ritter passed away in 2003, Joyce expressed heartfelt gratitude for the joy and kindness he brought to everyone around him. Her relationship with Suzanne Summers, though complicated by time and circumstance, eventually found peace through reconciliation years later. Joyce valued healing over pride, understanding that shared history mattered more than unresolved misunderstandings. These relationships remained part of her emotional landscape long after the cameras stopped rolling. Joyce never reduced her co-stars to headlines or controversies. She remembered them as collaborators who shaped an important chapter of her life. Life beyond the spotlight and giving back. In later years, Joyce DeWitt chose a quieter life centered on creativity, education, and community. She returned to theatre, taught acting, and shared her experience with younger performers who valued craft over celebrity. Joyce also became involved in charitable causes, particularly those focused on housing, education, and animal welfare. Free from the pressures of weekly television production, she rediscovered joy in smaller, more personal artistic spaces. While she rarely sought attention, she remained grateful for the audience that continued to appreciate her work. Joyce viewed legacy not as visibility, but as influence. The fact that Three's Company brought comfort and laughter to people during difficult times mattered more to her than awards or headlines. A legacy defined by integrity and quiet strength. Joyce DeWitt's story is not one of hidden scandal or dramatic revelation, but of an actress who chose integrity at every turn. Her true secret was not something she concealed out of fear, but something she protected out of love, for her character, her colleagues, and her craft. While audiences remember Janet Wood for her humor and intelligence, Joyce's real legacy lies in the grace with which she navigated fame, disappointment, and change. She proved that strength does not always announce itself, and that professionalism can be a form of courage. By honoring her values even when silence was difficult, Joyce left behind more than memorable performances. She left an example of how to live thoughtfully within a demanding industry. In the end, her greatest achievement may not be how loudly she was heard, but how steadily she remained true to herself, even when no one was watching.